فاصبر صبرا جميلا.
An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he says here that these two hadiths, they prove that the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam will make Maghrib as soon as it came in. As soon as the sun set, it was time to make Maghrib without no further delay. So much so, or the companion Rafi ibn Khadij, he wants to give us a visual. And he says that if someone made Maghrib with the Prophet ﷺ and left the masjid, and he had a bow and arrow, and he shot the bow, he would be able to see where the arrow would land. Or if he threw a lance, a spear, he would be able to see where it landed. Meaning, after they finished Maghrib, not when the adhan was made, when the iqamah was made, but when the Maghrib was done, left the masjid, it still was relatively light outside. It was still relatively light outside. So it shows us that Maghrib does not have to be made when it's pitch black dark. And this also applies to other pillars of Islam, such as fasting. We just got finished the month of Ramadan. May Allah accept it from you. And the brothers and the sisters that are fasting for Shawwal. It doesn't have to be pitch black dark outside when it's time to break your fast. However, it is based off of, the hadith says, إِذَا تَوَارَتْ بِالْحِجَابِ. إِذَا تَوَارَتْ يعني الشَّمْس. When the sun set, is hidden, it's gone. Now it's time for the adhan, even though it is still relatively light outside. Then obviously 8:30, 8:35, 8:40 is nothing like 7 p.m. 7 p.m. isn't like 6 p.m. 6 p.m. isn't like 5 p.m. There are levels of darkness, levels of sun, levels of shade. You can tell the time of the day by looking out the window. There's no question about that. But 8:30 is not like 10 p.m. 8:30 is not like 9:30 p.m. There's a huge difference between the color of the sky. So when Salat al-Maghrib comes in, once more, it does not have to be pitch black dark. It does not, and it should not, and it cannot be pitch black dark. Rather, as the hadith proves with this example, it should be relatively light outside. Now, we spoke many times before about the issue of modern technology, especially in light of the month in which we just fasted, and that is Ramadan. Moon sighting, calculation. How do you know when the sun sets? Where you live, how many buildings are there? You live near the airport. There are planes, there are towers. There's all types of technology, all types of man-made disturbance, all types of lights, static, all types of energy. Do you have the ability to see the sun setting itself? You live by a lake, you live by a river, the East Coast, the West Coast, Nam. Do you have the ability to accurately track the exact setting of the sun? And the nature of our life or our lifestyles, our lives today is very, very contrast to that of yesterday. And the proof of that is found in no place further than your kitchen. And your kitchen is a refrigerator. A refrigerator. A refrigerator. One of the greatest blessings and one of the greatest curses upon man in the modern time is a refrigerator. Things were difficult back then. Hunting, fishing, planting, harvesting, growing things, eating, starving, wintertime. Harsh winter conditions, wild animals, rival tribes. People starved, people were attacked, people were raided, things like this. The refrigerator brought the ability for you to preserve food, drinks, fruit, vegetables, meat, fish. You can put something in a deep freezer and keep it for a year. And at your convenience, you unthaw it and you cook it and you eat it. So that's a blessing. And obviously the curse of the refrigerator is clear. Because you waste. You pack so much into the refrigerator and things go rotten, things go bad. When's the last time you've been in your refrigerator and cleaned it out? You'd be shocked the things that are in your refrigerator that have been there for months, just sitting there. And they're wasted, they're neglected, they're abandoned. Or oftentimes greed. You buy so much because you know that you have a refrigerator. So I buy 3 and 4 salad dressings, I buy this vinegar, I buy this cheese, this butter, I buy 50 things that I would never ever buy if I was going to take them home and eat them that day or the next day. Things that would spoil, things that would turn sour. So oftentimes the refrigerator causes greed. Oftentimes it causes loss and waste of wealth. And oftentimes it causes a person to be dependent and reliant and he loses his natural human instinct of going out and getting fresh and eating fresh. Huh? And there are people who still eat fresh with a refrigerator, but everybody gets the point I'm trying to make. Everybody gets the point I'm trying to what? Trying to make, let alone electricity. We're not here to talk about the refrigerator in detail. I'm just trying to make a point. And that is how different our lifestyles are in comparison to the past. You compare a refrigerator to a deep freezer. You compare a deep freezer to an ice box, a dried ice. You compare an ice box to nothing. You compare an ice box to putting it in the snow, an igloo. You compare it to salted fish. It's reality. Putting meat in a brine to preserve it. Am I clear on this? So our lives are totally different than the people back then. They relied upon nature to determine time, to determine seasons, to determine weather. When is the last time you've relied upon the natural way to determine those things, including the time for Salatul Maghrib? Everybody understand this? And this is one of the key arguments of moon sighting versus calculation. You have a what in your kitchen? A refrigerator, a toaster oven at best, maybe a microwave, or neutral wave. Okay, you have an oven. How much charcoal do you have in your house? Or wood? You do what? You want to cook lamb chops, stew, a steak. The convenience is what? And you have full flame. And the list goes on. Electricity, running water.
No hard work.
The list goes on. It's still hard work, brother. It's just relative from time to time. The point is, that I'm trying to get to, is that your lifestyle is different than the lifestyle of the people back then. Everybody clear on this? The Prophet ﷺ, his message was universal for all times and places. And we know it states in a famous proverb, "Inna da'ifa amirul raq." The Arabs, they say that the weakest man is the leader of the caravan. The weakest one is the leader of the caravan. In other words, the caravan doesn't move at the speed of the what? Of the fastest. It moves at the speed of the slowest and the weakest. So therefore, Islam gives you the ruling for the what? The lowest basic level. Wipe yourself, clean yourself with what? Stones. Not even water first. Stones. Have you ever done that in your life? Do you ever intend on using stones on your rear end? However, there are people in places, in situations that have to relieve themselves, answer the call of nature, quote unquote, and the only thing that they have to clean themselves is what? Stones. So if Islam said, if the Sharia said you have to use this amount of water, you have to use this type of sanitary wipe or napkin, you have to do this, you have to do that, then that would mean that the speed and the velocity will be where? At the highest. And everyone can't what? Can't do that. So it's made at the what? And it does not mean that you can't go higher. Do you understand the hikmah of the Sharia, akhi? Stones to clean yourself. If you have water, you have sanitary napkins, you have wet wipes, you have baby wipes, you have all of these things, you should what? Use them. But in a rough, when they say when push comes to shove, then you can use stones. So looking for the time of the prayer with the naked eye, that's the asl. And that's how it was back then. That doesn't mean that we do not understand and we do not use and benefit from the calculation of navigation, GPS, the compass today. And use the same principle of what? Of them. Because everything in the modern world is based off of the old way. Everything. Everyone understand this? GPS, Global Positioning System, isn't a novelty of man. It's old. It's based off of the what? The homing pigeon. Everybody understand this? Homing pigeon. Read about the homing pigeon in the ancient Egyptians and the Romans, and read about how they use this pigeon for everything, for war, for messages, for directions. And an interesting fact is that when you have a compass, whether it's digital or analog compass, a military compass, a compass on your iPhone, or on your Galaxy Note or whatever you have, before you use the digital compass, it says that you have to do what?
Calibrate.
Calibrate. Now, how do you calibrate a compass? That's only one way, to figure eight. There's also another way of spinning it and rotating it. And if you've ever had a homing pigeon, if you've ever seen them, when you put the message on their legs, And when you ship them and send them somewhere, you throw them in the air. And oftentimes the pigeons will spin around for 5 minutes. They'll fly in a circle. Then they'll take off to their destination. Allahu Akbar. So the point is that modern technology is based off of what? The old style. Okay? With regards to finding the north. Many imprisoned slaves in the southern states, they found their way north how? Not through the North Star, but through moss. Moss on trees and rocks, because moss only grows northward. It only grows towards the north direction. So whenever they found moss, they would know they're getting closer to the what? The Mason-Dixon line. Everybody understand this? And now today we have electricity, we have technology, we can pinpoint location, Google Maps like that. The new technology is based off of what? The old way, the mind. Everybody understand this? A drill is based off of what? A screwdriver. It's all the same, it's just a different way of doing it. An intensified, amplified way of doing it. More power, it's easier, it's simpler. The refrigerator is based off of salting the meat, salting the fish, the salmon, the mackerel. Preserves it. It's no difference. It's just a different way and a heightened way of doing it. Why can that? Huh? So the point is that Islam gives you the basic. And times will come, people will come, technology will come. Allah knows this. And the people will base their modern novelties off of the old ways. Everybody understand this or not? So if you're living a certain way, is it advisable for you to try to live another way? And everything around you, in front of you, in your house, in your pocket, is modern technology. And he says, I have to look for it with my own eyes. That doesn't add up but so much. Extremely inconsistent. Everybody clear on this? So therefore the prayer schedule, the timetable, you are without a question, whether you like it or not, totally blind following someone. You're making complete taqleed of what the website says. Inshallah, it's a trustworthy website, a trusted website, a reliable website, in which there are Islamic scholars, there are Islamic researchers, in which there are scholars of astronomy, scholars of navigation, scholars of time, worldly scholars as well. And then they come together and they produce 8:29 is when Maghrib comes in. 8:35 is when Maghrib comes in. 4:01 is when Fajr comes in. Based off of the what? Back in the day. And then wahakadha. So therefore, Maghrib comes in. If you can see it yourself, this hadith. If you can't see it, if you don't have the knowledge of the Arabic language, what does that mean? إِذَا تَوَارَتْ بِالْحِجَابِ. What does that mean? In Arabic, let alone comparing it to English, let alone comparing it to the modern urban city or the suburban area. So it's not a simple, easy task. And it's the same thing happens every year with regards to looking for the moon. Looking for the moon is a skill. And if you look for it in the wrong time, you will miss it. And you'll say, we didn't see it. But the moon came out. It's a specific and a direction and a height. Everybody clear on this or not? And it's extremely important for those who attack Islam and the Sharia of Islam. They say it's outdated, it's prehistoric, it's the dinosaurs, Stone Age, the Bronze Age, wiping yourself with stones. What is this? Cutting off the hand of the thief, so on and so forth. It says prehistoric, it's barbaric. But they don't have the understanding of wisdom. And the things that they eat, drink, sit on, ride on, travel upon are based off of old Stone Age barbaric ways as well. Everybody clear on this or not? It's nothing different. It's just made in a modern way, modified. Travel, warfare, it's all the what? The same, a projectile. A bow and an arrow is no different than a different type of a projectile. Shooting and launching something at your enemy. An explosive head arrow. Everybody understand this? An arrowhead that's on fire. It's all the same. One way or another, one scale or another. So we have to understand our Sharia is universal. It has no time. Certain things, certain rulings do change, yes. But never the core issues and never the core rulings. And a lot of confusion comes from people not understanding this principle. Those who are right wing and those who are left wing. Everything has to change in 2018. Everything. Kullu shay. And those who say nothing can change, nothing will change. And I want to read this statement of a scholar who lived 700 years ago, 1,000 years ago. and apply with no understanding, no tailoring, no trimming in New York City. Rigidly, absolutely. But that's hypocritical, because I said he goes into the refrigerator and he has a what? He goes into the kitchen and has a what? Refrigerator, a microwave, a smartphone. It's hypocritical. Huh? Everybody clear on this? So there has to be a balanced detail of what changes and what doesn't change. It's how Islam blends with technology, modern science, history. Huh? طيب.